Legend Total here, and today we've got a rating your one-man Doom stack covering Imric. And as per your guys' feedback, I am now screening the one-man Doom stacks for the use of the trait manager. I have rejected a couple today based on excessive use of the trait manager. You know, it's fairly easy to tell when there's like 30 defeat traits in a row, all the good ones as well, and it's like turn 60. It's pretty easy to tell they're using the trait manager. Now this one here is not using the trait manager. This actually looks like a pretty standard look of traits. So it's going to be a little bit weaker than perhaps it would be if it had used the trait manager. But yeah, the thing is as well, when people send in Doom stacks with the trait manager, they don't tell me in advance. I have to go and actually look and suss out whether or not they do. So if you are going to send in a one-man Doom stack and you are going to use the trait manager, here's my recommendation: don't go overboard with it. Try to get some of the defeat traits yourself, and make it look like you didn't use the trait manager. If you make it too obvious, I'm just gonna straight up reject it now, because it just takes away from all the people that actually put in a serious amount of effort when you just like instantly get it sorted. Alright, so that's per people's feedback based on the previous one-man Doom stack, and like I said, I take your feedback into consideration and we'll apply it. Okay, so that's probably going to mean there's going to be fewer one-man Doom stack submissions, because I think the reason why we were getting so many is because they were easy to do, because people were essentially cheating. Anyway, we've got two armies of Cathay over here to deal with. We've got the Star Lance, the Helm of Cain. That's how he's getting unbreakable, so we don't have the Sword of Cain. Funny thing is, in this situation here, I'd almost kind of want him to have the Sword of Cain, because otherwise he doesn't really have a lot of means to like wipe out mass amounts of infantry. But I appreciate the fact that he didn't. We got Talisman of Preservation and the Shooting Star. Alright, let's jump in here and see what we can do. Now, the guy in the email said that he actually didn't win this battle. So we have to try to do better than that. We have to try to actually win. I remember we did a one-man Doom stack for Imric back in Warhammer 2, and it was up against 4 armies of Warriors of Chaos, and I probably spent about an hour swooping. Now, swooping in Warhammer 3 is possible, but it's really a lot more difficult. It's really tedious, so I tend not to do it. Unless I really, really have to in my own campaigns. So I won't do it in this situation here. So what we want to do here, he's fairly high in resistances, but he's not at the cap. So missile attacks will be a problem. He has defeated all of the dragons, so he's got natural regen. Didn't need to trait farm that in by defeating Isabella. If you play as the Knights of Caledor, it is not really that difficult to get regen for Imric. But yeah, I did have a look at his skill tree, and it is definitely not trait farmed. Sorry, trait managered. Alright, so if we have a look at his resistances, we're at 36% ward save, 3% physical resistance. So that one there indicates to me that they didn't even go and get Wurzag, Sigvold's, and Archaon's defeat trait, because that's coming from the Helm of Cain. So that means there is potential there for 25% extra physical resistance, which would be good against this army here, because most of it's physical attack. We have 25% missile resistance, 75% flame resistance. However, we have to take away 20% of that, because it doesn't take that into consideration with your resistances. It doesn't subtract it. So we have to do that ourselves. We are 75% resistant to flame, but also 20% weak to flame. So in essence, we are 55% resistant to flame. It's just a simple calculation, but you just gotta do it yourself. And a little bit spell resistant. Okay. Now, being unbreakable, we don't need to land right away. What we should probably try to do is get a duel going with Zhao Ming. Now, the way to do that is to go into melee with him for a split second. He'll turn into a dragon and chase us. Now, trying to waste the ammunition of the artillery. Fire rain rockets probably don't matter, but the... Oh, actually, you know what? Grand cannons, they don't really matter. Yeah, that doesn't matter, because it's flaming attack. We're pretty much going to be 90% resistant to it, so I'm not even going to bother trying to waste that one's ammo. Okay, we're almost there. So all we're going to do is touch him, and then he'll go dragon. Let's get out of there.
Witness me! A superior advantage! For the dragons!
Because getting him up in the sky is probably the easiest way of dealing with him. Does he have regen? Yeah, he's got regen as well. But that gives him fire weakness. So yeah, what we want to do is kill him quickly. Alright, how are we going to get him to come at us? I think we need to do some like ranged damage on him. On his army. And the way to do that is with probably piercing bolts of burning. As for chain lightning, we'll save that for later. Excuse me. Let's just see if I can actually do a swoop. I believe it's quite tricky now. Yeah, see, that would have been a clear swoop in Warhammer 2, but 1 to 3. See, I haven't got it pinned down, but units that are shooting will usually not try to dodge. It is on very hard battle difficulty. Okay, now that we've done that, let's see if we can get Zhao Ming to chase us. Because, yeah, the problem here with Imric is that he's really big. Okay, yeah, Zhao Ming's on the way. That's good. He's really big, so if we just, like, land over there and start fighting, the missile units, even if we are mostly resistant to it, there's just going to be so many that they will kill him. You can see that they are doing a fair bit of damage, and that's with me actually trying to dodge them. So, yeah, we want to take out their commander right away, because otherwise it's going to be a pain throughout the battle. So get him away from his army, and Imric should have no trouble taking out this Zhao Ming. Because this guy, yeah, he's nothing special. Zhao Ming can be a one-man Doomstack, but it doesn't seem like he's got good equipment. So Zhao Ming gets regen through his skill line there. Just get him far enough away that not going to come and assist. Alright, that should be enough. And we can debuff him and buff us. And eat his ass. Yeah, now he's like, I regret this decision. Come on. Dragon. It's a dragon. Eat it.
Sent by the forge.
He actually made a pretty good move there by running away after we did our buffs and debuffs, so we didn't really get full use of it. But he hasn't landed a hit on us yet. And he still is almost gone. Could use this, but it seems like our melee attack. Have a look here. It's melee defense. I guess we could use it. So Zhao Ming has done next to no damage there. One more hit. You can do it. Come on. Come on. There we go. Good boy. Alright, Zhao Ming is down. Now let's take out the other flying units. Typically... What the hell? Why'd you land? Typically speaking, with flying one-man Doomstacks, you want to be taking out all the flying units first. Now, I would waste all the ammunition if I didn't feel like it was going to take, you know, an hour to do that. I just need to get them away from all these missile units, and then I got no problem fighting Great Long Marauders.
To battle!
I'm just chunking it down real quick. But him with discorded. But I don't think that's going to make that much of a difference.
The dragons roar!
Got perfect vigor as well. Okay, the fire rain rockets are probably going to do more damage to their own units than to us. We've got terror at it. Let's take out this Lord now as well. So the Star Lance is really good for when dealing with like single entities, but when we're dealing with chaff infantry, it's not really going to help because it's going to kill them in one hit anyway. Alright, I need to get away from those missile units. You can see they are doing a lot of damage. There's a bunch of Grand Cannons over there that are pretty isolated. Would be a good idea, I think, to go and take them out. So let's go do that. Mainly just for balance of power reasons. And also, you know, it can do a fair bit of damage to us over time, if we leave them alone. Go try to zigzag on our way here, but, you know, dragons are big, which makes them difficult at short-range dodging. So what I'm doing here is saving the chain lightning for the end. Same thing with the piercing bolts of burning, so that we can just get the massive blob of infantry dealt with, because that's Imric will just take a while to deal with that otherwise. That's it. Use the fire rain rockets on your own units. Nice. Cavalry on its way to try to pin us down, which is fine for later on. Let's just escort this one here off the battlefield first.
Sent by the forge.
All I need is just one of them to leave the battlefield, so that we can just be done with it. If I stay right near it, they shouldn't rally. Because, yeah, if we have a look at it... Oh, it didn't do much damage. Yeah, that one's... looks like it's pretty much out of here. But yeah, it's actually the small arm fire that I think I'm most concerned about. Because they do have a lot of ammo, and we're not that missile resistant. I think he really should have tried to get Wurzag's defeat trade at the very minimum, because that's not that far away from us. But this is what you're going to get sometimes. You know, you're either going to get one end of the extreme or the other. You're either going to get trait farmed super duper one-man doomstacks that are beefed up to hell, or unfinished one-man doomstacks that just quite haven't reached their full potential. And it just comes down to, what do you prefer to watch? Because I don't really care whatsoever what we cover. Okay, that's good. We are taking way too much damage. I know we're still mostly at full health, but once we start once we've reached our max regen, it's going to be harder and harder to inflict the army losses. Ideally, with these one-man doomstacks, you want to be as close to full health as possible, or else you have to destroy the entire army, which would take longer. But yeah, like I said, it's the small arms fire that are concerning me the most. Sky Lanterns don't do that much damage. Have a look at Jade Warrior Crossbowmen. Individually, not doing much damage. They're starting to blob up, so if I get them to blob up a bit more, maybe we'll pop down a chain lightning, because I do get two of them. We've also got these ones over here, the crane gunners. Yeah, they're doing some damage.
For all Calador, I seek.
Also, Imric isn't fully leveled up yet, but I imagine that in terms of, like, his one-man doomstack status, he's probably leveled up about as much as he can. He doesn't have a magic line, so probably just hasn't gone fully down the blue line, which isn't going to affect this at all.
Taking position.
Alright, we've got a whole bunch of their archers standing there. Let's pop one of these down. As long as we let them keep shooting, they shouldn't try and dodge it. That's it. Got a few kills. That'll mean less overall ammo. Put down one of these as well. Really wanted to save that for a big blob later down the track, but these missile units are just doing way too much damage to us. And that seemed like a pretty good one. Now, I could rush at them right now to try to get them to rout, but that would mean me getting fairly close to these guys here and we'd get shot to shit. Not to mention as well, we've got a Terracotta Sentinel that we have to fight. Even if we inflict the army losses, that has to go down. We've also got Dragon Breaths, quite a lot of them, but the thing is with Dragon Breaths is that you really shouldn't be doing that while you're under missile fire. It just makes you more vulnerable since you don't get stun locked. You don't do the stun animation, which helps to dodge shots. So while you're doing a breath attack, you're actually the most vulnerable that you can be for missile units. So I want to get another one of these down. Now the reason why I'm staying in the trees here is because it is allowing us to block some of these shots. Try and speed this up a little bit. Not taking too much damage. Yeah, you can see quite a few of the crane gunner's projectiles are getting blocked by the trees, effectively acting like a shield for us. Also, some cannon shots also hitting trees. Well, I don't want to be fighting in the trees. Using the trees as a shield is definitely useful. Alright, that last piercing bolts of burning really did some serious damage there. Alright, the crane gunners, they are... I don't think we're going to be able to feasibly kill them without getting shot to shit, so I think probably the best case scenario for that is just to waste their ammo. Which, you know, it's a bit on the cheesy side, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Because otherwise, if we get in close, it just makes them more accurate. And we've got this really good position here where we're just not getting shot. And we're just super vulnerable to missiles. If he had more physical or missile resistance, I'd probably risk it a little bit more, but he's just not at that cap. And that last little bit of physical or missile resistance could be the difference between taking 2 damage per shot and actually 10 damage per shot. So it's a big difference. Which, you know, would really add up over time. Okay, the blob of archers over here, though. I don't see a better opportunity for this. Even if we do get into a big blob later down the track, that's still just really good. And because they're blobbed up there, they're not firing very effectively. So it's going to take them ages to use up their ammo. So might as well kill them. Cool, cool, cool. Sky Lantern's also running out of ammo there. But this is good. What we're doing here is really effective for bounce of power. They're wasting it. We're barely getting hit at all. The trees are blocking them. Using the elevation here, making it difficult to hit us. Despite our massive size, they just can't seem to do anything to us, which is exactly what we want. Peasant archers down there seem to be hitting us, but our armor actually seems to be blocking it all. Because if we ever look at that one's missile damage, yeah, there's only 1 armor piercing damage. So with 146 armor, yeah, every now and again it'll do 1 damage. So even though it's at close range, it's just not doing any damage. So armor can actually block 100% of all non-armor piercing damage. So that unit there is not that big of a concern. However, crane gunners, which are doing armor piercing shot, the armor isn't going to be effective against that. That's where you need the resistances. The physical, ward save, missile resistance, that kind of stuff. If they were doing flame damage, it'd be a different story. We'd be at our cap, but they're not. Okay, seems like the artillery's all been spent. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to mostly wait for the crane gunners to run out of ammo. Not seeing as many projectiles coming down now. Didn't want to land. It's good that we're still at full health. You know, knocking out Zhao Ming is a big benefit to our bounce of power. And also getting rid of a lot of these archers will make a big difference here. Alright, maybe we're not getting fired on enough that maybe we could justify doing one of these. Okay, we only took a little bit of damage. I think we traded well there. Now, when it comes down to fighting the melee infantry, it'd probably be best if we fought near the edge of the map, so that we can rout them fairly early on. Also, once again, if you're wondering how he's flying without taking leadership penalties, it's because he's unbreakable. He has the Helm of Cain on, which isn't good for resistances. It's just because of the unbreakable stat that it provides. Now, if he had gotten Gottrik's defeat trait, then he could have worn the Armor of Calidor, or he could have worn an Armor of Destiny, which would have been better for resistances. This is how I can tell that he didn't use the trait farmer, trait manager, because most of the people who are sending in, you know, these 30 defeat trait one-man doom stacks all stick-in Gotrik's defeat trait in there, which provides Unbreakable. And it's actually quite difficult to hunt down in Warhammer 3, because he could be anywhere. Or nowhere. And that's one of the tricky parts, trying to find him. You know, that's actually kind of one of the trait manager traits that you could stick into your army without me really knowing, as long as you're not, like, piling them on. Like, if you just put that 1 or 2 in, I really wouldn't know, and neither would anyone else. We just wouldn't be able to tell if you did or didn't actually fight Gotrek, because you either can or you either do or you don't in your campaigns, you know? So, okay, we're not getting shot that much. We need to move them around a little bit now. Okay. If we have a look at the Jade Warrior crossbowmen, they have, yeah, a lot more armor piercing. Just gonna try. Nope, I didn't succeed.
I seek glory. Done.
But I want to get rid of these crane gunners now. They're the ones probably doing the most amount of damage to us because of their armor piercing. Oh, I don't want to fight the cavalry just yet. Don't want to get pinned down. Don't mind being in melee eventually, but now's probably not the best time. Alright, now the crane gunners are shooting again properly. We're going to get back to our spot. Because, yeah, they had them stacked on top of each other, so they don't shoot properly when that happens. But yeah, if I just went into melee, just among all these guys here, we'd just die. And I understand that's why you probably lost the battle. And I also understand that a lot of people just don't want to do this kind of stuff. Totally understand. You know, the guy said he couldn't win the battle, which I understand. If you just throw him in here, he is not buffed up enough to be able to handle it. Especially if we're getting hit by a bloody Terracotta Sentinel, which... They're not anti-large, are they? No, they're not. Now, it'd probably be good if we could inflict the army losses before having to fight that, so that it's not among a whole bunch of other units. It's good to see the Grand Cannon there. That's really stupid of them. Right, I think we're ready for another one of these.
We must not turn upon each other. Blessed by ball.
Now, typically speaking, with breath attacks, you want to do it at maximum range so the angle doesn't go straight down. If you want to do it straight down, that's good against single entities, but if you're going up against an infantry unit, you want to do it at as much of an angle as possible. Which is sometimes why it's good using breath attacks when units are up on the walls.
Sent by the forge.
Right, the crane gunners are almost out. And then I'll start taking out these sky lanterns, because I just won't be able to do anything about it. Okay, we should be good now. Few bits of ammo here and there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, these guys can't stand up to us. Easily killed. Just don't follow it down onto the ground, please, Imric. You son of a bitch.
Dragon's Rage.
Yeah, this is what happens when you fight sky lanterns. When they fall down to the ground, the entity will follow it down with it. So great, now I'm stuck. At least we're not getting shot, so we're okay here. Alright, we got out of that fairly easily. Unfortunately, even if I had it on guard mode, and I'll show this here, I'm pretty sure he'll still follow it down onto the ground. Yeah, see.
Absolutely.
Alright, well, we still got more breath attacks, we should use it. But, okay, how about we take out the Sky Lantern here now, because there's not much they can do to stop us, and it's still got ammo left. How much damage did it end up doing? Actually, a fair bit. But yeah, we're not... Oh god, that is so irritating. They really need to change some of that shit. And a couple more archers, which we can get rid of. It seems like the AI is now off. They're just utterly confused as to what to do now. Okay, that's all the missile units left. I don't think there's any more flying units. There is an artillery piece over here for some reason. It's facing the wrong way and still got loads of ammo. So we'll take that out. It does seem to me that the AI actually has fatigue in this, in that after a certain amount of time, they just go brain dead, because whatever directives Creative Assembly has programmed into them has basically just run out. which is why doing this kind of stuff can be so effective, because they just run out of puff. I really don't want to be fighting this among all these infantry. However, oh, you know what we could try? We could try what I was saying before. This. So that did a fair bit of damage, but I think we'd rather do it on infantry still. Because that was like one hit. Could have done that with. Alright, we've still got 4 more breath attacks. We should use them before we land and fight, but I think we got this now. Especially because we're still at full health. That's really important. So, try to do it at maximum range. Good, basically deletes a full unit. We should really be aiming for these, like any anti-large stuff. The Jade Warrior units are not going to be a concern, but Celestial Dragon Guard definitely are. So that'll take another breath attack and that should finish it off. And we've still got one more Chain Lightning to do. I didn't wipe it out, but I don't see any other anti-large or anything else better, so I still think we should use that last Star Dragon Breath on it. And if we fly over it and just escort off the battlefield, good. Alright, let's jump over here. I'm going to land on these Jade Lancers. And we'll see if anything wants to blob around us. But as soon as the Terracotta Sentinels come over here... Oh, sorry, Terracotta Sentinel. There's only one of them. Come over here, we should really try to avoid it. Because I'm sure in a one-on-one fight we'll be fine. But if we're mixed in among infantry, the problem is you can issue attack orders and he just won't listen. He'll keep attacking whatever's closest to him. Oh, okay, there's the army losses. Like I said, getting an early army losses here was really ideal. Didn't even need that other Chain Lightning. And then, yeah, in a one-on-one duel situation, Imric is really good. Really, really good. Look at that. The Terracotta Sentinel did just about nothing. And there we go. So the things to point out about this, you know, I know I drive this home pretty hard, but I really got to make this point clear. That if you take a lot of damage throughout the battle, and it's not about how much regen you've got left, it's about what your actual remaining health is, you'll make it harder and harder to get the army losses. So what probably happened is that in his attempt to do this, he probably hit the regen cap fairly early on, started taking damage, and while he could have inflicted the army losses on the enemy if he was at full strength, because he wasn't, the battle kept going, and he had to take out more and more and more, and eventually just ran out of steam. Whereas what we did here is ensure that Imric remained at full strength until that threshold was actually reached. Because quite a lot of these units got away, but all the balance of power was stripped away. We got rid of, you know, all their leadership units. You got rid of Zhao Ming, got rid of the artillery. All that stuff over there is just worth tons of balance of power, and Jade Warriors are not worth that much. And so by not focusing on the stuff that wasn't really a threat, and by focusing on stuff that is a threat, we can get an early army losses. And this is why it's so important that in your battles that you don't take excessive amounts of damage. The battle will go on too long if you do take excessive amounts of damage, and sometimes getting early damage for free can really help you inflict that early army losses. And this is why in a lot of people's battles they'll you know, essentially be fighting to the death, and then they'll come and ask me, I don't understand, how come the enemy runs away from you when they're at half strength, but I end up having fighting to the death? It all comes down to how damaged is your army. If you're, you know, down to your last few troops, that's why the army losses isn't being inflicted. It's not simply a case of first person to lose half of their army loses. It's a case of first person to lose half their army while the other person remains basically untouched loses. And there we go. Now, we managed to handle that. But let's have a look here. This is clearly an unfinished one-man Doom stack, but let's have a look. Let's provide some advice on how we can improve it. So he's got Blood-Soaked here. He didn't finish Wades Through Gore, so he could have picked up an additional 10% health here. So yeah, he's got all of these ones here. Beat Tretch Craventail, that's a good one. Oh wow, he really didn't get like any defeat traits. It's like none at all. And it was still a one-man Doom stack. You know, with a bit of effort. That really does goes to show just how strong Imric can potentially be. That he just took out 2 full stacks, including taking out another Legendary Lord, at full health, without any cheats, and really without any trait farming. The only thing here that he had was Helm of Cain. I needed that. But if he had Gottric's defeat trait, then he could have worn the Armor of Calidor, which would have provided more ward save. But even better still, would have could have provided where is it? If you've got, oh wow, you got a lot of items here. If you've got it, the Armor of Destiny, which doesn't look like you do have it, but that provides 15% physical resistance essentially, and also not getting the defeat traits for physical resistance. Yeah, that made him so much more vulnerable in this battle. So, in terms of rating this, Imric really is a 10 out of 10 one-man Doom stack. Not in this particular situation, because he has not reached his full potential. But if he reaches his full potential, goes out and gets those defeat traits, he's not too far away from Wurzag, and then it's not too far away to come up to the Chaos Waste to go and defeat Archaon and Sigvold. And then on the way there, you can maybe pick up Throt's trait, which he hasn't done any of that, although Throt seems to have been defeated in this campaign. All of that can make a big difference here. Same thing with, you know, well, in terms of the Unbreakable trait, there's no guarantee to get Gottric's trait in any campaign. He just might not show up, unless you leave specifically a Dwarf, Bretonnian, or Empire faction alive, and just leave it as a sack city, and then just hope that Gottric and Felix show up. Then there's no way to really guarantee, and even then, who knows how long it could take. But yeah, this guide really didn't do anything to make it a special one-man Doom stack, but it was still good. So, the big question here is, what do you guys prefer? Do you guys want the one-man Doom stacks to come in that are possibly trait managed, or do you want the one-man Doom stacks to come in that are just characters that you would normally get through a campaign? Like, this here is very achievable for any of you guys in a campaign without putting an extreme amount of effort in. All this guy really did was just disband his army, and we were still able to do it. That being said as well, is that Cathay is not necessarily the most difficult opponent to go up against, but loads of single entities may have actually been easier for Imric because he's just so good at taking them down because there's so much damage in his anti-large. So it just depends. This really could take on quite a lot. There's few armies out there that can handle Imric, and in my own campaigns, fighting Imric has been an absolute pain in the ass. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I just want to make the videos that you guys want to see. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate you. Bye.